A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Hello and welcome to Famous Moments in Oscar History. I'm Patrick McDonald of HollywoodChicago.com.
And I'm Jeffrey Lipom, Chicago's foremost Oscar historian.
You betcha. This is Oscar week, of course, Jeffrey.
Yes, happy Oscar one and all.
Yes, happy Oscar week. And just to continue what we did last year, this is a segment on famous moments in Oscar history. And we're going to do a three-part segment. We're going to start off with part one, which is political controversy. Political controversy always been a part of the Oscars.
It always has been. How could it not be political? Because you're actually casting a vote for one person that you think did the best job out of
Pretty
four or five other
much
nominees.
it's inherently political.
Correct.
So the height of the political movement, of course, came during the Vietnam era, the war escalating, the war going on. The 70s were a hotbed, so we're going to talk about several incidences that occurred during the 70s. And the first one is from 1972. Give us a little background on that, Jeffrey.
1972, obviously, big year for the film called The Godfather.
Yes.
Marlon Brando hadn't been nominated in over 15 years when he was nominated, obviously, for his role as Don Corleone in The Godfather. The field was not very competitive.
Right.
Obviously, most people knew beforehand that Marlon Brando was the favorite to actually win the Oscar.
The winner is Marlon Brando in The Godfather.
Applause, applause, applause. No Marlon Brando in the house, of course.
But accepting the award was Sacheen Littlefeather.
Accepting the award for Marlon Brando, Miss Sacheen Littlefeather.
And the irony is, too, that she was not a Native American. She
Correct.
was an actress.
That's correct.
Brando had hired to play the part of a Native American.
That he very regretfully cannot accept this very generous award. And the reasons for this being are the treatment of American Indians today by the film industry.
But there was a 45-minute document about the mistreatment of Native Americans, which was one of Brando's pet causes.
At that time,
Yes.
correct. She was an actress named Maria Cruz, who actually was playing an Apache Indian.
Very good.
So, just a little trivia there for you. She wasn't even a Native American.
Okay. Okay, we go to 1974. 1974, of course, had a documentary that won that caused a lot of controversy. That documentary was called Hearts and Minds. This was Bert Schneider who produced it, and he actually accepted the award for it. Hearts and Minds was a kind of a documentary about the hearts and minds of the Vietnam people. That's an old war term. If you win their hearts and minds, you win the war. Well, the documentary concluded that the United States had not won the hearts and minds of the people. So when Bert Schneider got the award, what did he do, Jeffrey?
He actually got up on stage to accept his Oscar, and he read a telegram from the Paris peace talks, which were happening at the same time, that basically thanked the American people for sympathizing with the Viet Cong, and basically accepted his award.
Four co-hosts that year: Bob Hope, Shirley MacLaine, Sammy Davis Jr., and Frank Sinatra. So Hope goes to Sinatra and says, "You got to get on stage and read this disclaimer."
And it was a disclaimer, as Pat said, that actually said that the views of Bert Schneider were not those of the Academy, basically to absolve them of any bad press that could come from this particular instance.
Now, Hope had not asked anybody. He had simply written down the statement and said to Sinatra, who was a little reluctant. He was reluctant to do it, but he did. And then Sinatra got backstage, and what happened?
And McLean collared Frank Sinatra and was shouting at him, "Well, I'm a member of the Academy, and I happen to agree with Bert Schneider," and what his telegram
Poor
said.
Frank. Frank had a bad year that year.
That was a bad year for Frank Sinatra. So in essence, the Rat Pack was fighting backstage at the Academy Awards in 1974.
Well, now we're going to move fast forward all the way to 2003, and of course our favorite guy, Michael Moore. So tell us the background, Michael Moore
Well,
winning.
Michael Moore, obviously a documentary film director who has his own style. I don't even know if I would call it pure documentary or not. But nonetheless, 2003 Bowling for Columbine, which was heavily touted as the favorite for winning Best Documentary Feature, and it did.
And the Oscar goes to Bowling for Columbine, Michael Moore and Michael Donovan.
So Michael Moore, you know, got on stage to accept his Oscar, and in a very nice touch, I think, asked the other 4 producers of their documentaries to join him on stage, which they then did.
Well, here's what happened next.
We like nonfiction. We like nonfiction, and we live in fictitious times. We live in a time where we have fictitious election results that elects a fictitious president.
So essentially you hear, what was interesting about the reaction to that speech, I thought, was that, you know, you definitely see some people sitting on their hands on that one. So this sort of takes away the whole liberal Hollywood thing. I mean, he made a very inflammatory statement calling Bush a false president, essentially. And, you know, you look to the audience and some people were sitting on their hands. So why do you think that was?
I think it was probably because people were, I think it was for fear, quite possibly. I mean, obviously the blacklist, you know, that was not that really long ago in some of these people's minds.
Exactly.
And the regime that we were in at that time as well could have been moving towards something, you know, the Bush administration, correct.
Okay, for our next segment on famous moments in Oscar history, we're going to explore the people who thought they were going to win, but didn't. That's next time on Famous Moments.